Chapter 6, June, 6 strings. June 1st. Nothing is more annoying than a great singer getting drowned out by a loud guitar. Jeff Beck. I couldn't agree more, Mr. Beck. Being a guitarist and a singer, I can understand both sides of this quote. For one, as a singer, you want to make sure people can hear the words you are saying in a song. Just for clarity's sake, if any instrument is too loud, this can't happen. And then the story you are trying to tell is not heard. It turns into the singer screaming the words instead of singing them in an attempt to be louder than the music. Bottom line is that it isn't how the singer intends the lyrics to be conveyed. In a band, the musicians ought to be complementing each other, not battling each other for who can be loudest. It's not a competition. It's collaboration to do what's best for any given song at any given time. In the end, this is what making music and performing music should be. June 2nd. I started doing up and down strumming, basically to keep time and to play fast. As time went on, I started realizing other guitar players couldn't do it. I always went against the grain. Johnny Ramone. This is all about creating your own unique style in anything you do throughout life. Be an N of one. Be original. Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. Johnny went for the idea of playing fast in a hardcore punk kind of way with his guitar strumming. Some people might play their guitar like it's a percussion instrument. Others might play nicely by finger picking or lightly strumming. Whatever it is that tickles your fancy, stick with it and work on it over and over again. It is what will separate you from everyone else and what will give you the most joy anyway. Finding happiness and purpose through what we do will give us a well-rounded life, and in the end, this is what we will cherish the most. June 3rd. I was mostly self-taught on guitar, and that had its benefits. It's a great thing to work through problems on your own. Julian Beam. So true, Julian. It's great to be able to work through problems on your own. In doing so, you learn how to troubleshoot in real time, which is an extremely valuable skill you need throughout life. And in a sense, you are adopting the style of improvisation into your daily life. Think about it. Things don't always go as planned. When they don't, do you freak out or shut down, letting your emotions get the best of you, or do you just stay calm and pivot into another idea? Sometimes the second idea ends up being better than the first anyway. When one door closes, another one opens. Furthermore, when you teach yourself how to do something, it can be frustrating for a while, feeling like you're beating your head against a wall, not making any progress. But then, seemingly all of a sudden, something clicks, and it makes perfect sense. Remember all the time you spent trying to play that scale without making a mistake? Then one day you do it seamlessly. Great success. Learning the guitar on your own also helps you develop your own style, not be tied down by technical theory, allowing you to be free to create whatever kind of music you want without reservation. You might discover a new, more efficient and effective way of playing the guitar or doing whatever it is you are doing. It's living in a state of improvisation more often, another wonderful way to weave your way through life. June 4th. Well, the more I played the guitar, the more I began to really love the guitar and to love virtually any kind of music that anybody played well on guitar. John Fahey. Spoken like a true fan of music, John is really onto something here. It's simple, really, just enjoying a musical instrument in all of its glory, being played and or performed by as many people as possible. This is how we ought to be as it pertains to music and your go-to instrument. Being well-versed, pun intended, in several different genres, selecting musicians to learn from, emulate, and inspire us to do challenging things so as to go beyond what we thought we could do. The fact that the more he does something, in this case the guitar, the more he enjoys it is a great sign and lesson for all of us. Let's put this into practice in our own lives by paying attention to those things that bring us joy and continuing to do them. In addition to this, he is showing the utmost respect for his fellow guitarists by admitting he loves any kind of music anybody plays well on guitar. He is both a student and a teacher as well as a fan. June 5th. I don't let the children watch TV on weeknights. They practice playing musical instruments instead. Both my sons play piano, drums, and guitar, so my husband and I listen to them in the evening. Jane Seymour. I absolutely love this. I honestly can't think of a better way to spend time as a family than by playing music and or listening to music together. You are literally bonding over the age-old tradition of singing songs around the campfire, just in or around the house. This first reminds us that there is more to life than screens and devices, Twitter feeds, and the vortex that is the media, both live and social. It then encourages us to be creative using our hands and possibly this of playing a brass or woodwind instrument and feet drums to make beautiful music in a collaborative way. This fosters teamwork, compromise, listening, and creating all in one awesome bundle of goodness. What's even greater than this is by people actually taking interest in listening to what the people playing are doing. As a parent, it is vitally important for me to let my son know he's doing well at something or sounding good with an instrument, and taking this a step further, then let him know there's always room to get better at whatever it is you're doing as well, to become not only a better guitarist or drummer, but to become a better version, overall person in this pursuit. That's the good stuff of life. June 6th. The way I look at it, I'm a songwriter that just happens to play guitar. Rick Nielsen. Beautiful, Rick. There are many ways to write a song. One can do so by singing it a cappella, melody, lyrics, and music all in one. One can play various lead and or rhythm parts of various instruments. One can play melodies that complement the lead using various instruments, including the voice. You get the point. The idea Mr. Nielsen is presenting here is that he is a songwriter through and through, and it doesn't matter how or what he uses to write a song. Just following the muse and creating something out of nothing, enjoying the journey, songwriting process and destination, finished song and recorded form, all the same. is what really matters. He just happens to use the guitar. This just so happens to be the instrument I usually use when writing a song as well. So I resonate both literally and metaphorically with that. Do it your own way. Have fun with it. June 7th. I quite like to sing, actually. Just belting out numbers with my guitar. I find that it's a form of tranquility. Jack O'Connell. Stillness and peace and physical activity. What a concept, right? We can think of it like a moving meditation, if you will. If you've been lucky enough to experience what this feels like, it is very much how I would describe a little heaven on earth. Whether it would be riding a bike, going on a long run, walking with my weighted vest on, snowboarding, longboarding, or anything else I can do by myself exercise-wise, there's very much a meditative quality to it. One step after the other, one pedal after the other, one movement after the other, one breath after the other, and breaking the activity down to its most basic characteristics like this, it allows for a space to be fully in the moment. If you're only thinking of the next step, the next pedal, the next movement, or the next breath, your mind can't be thinking of anything else. This is especially the case with more extreme sports like rock climbing, mountaineering, and skydiving, for instance. One wrong step or mishap could literally be the last one of your life. Talk about being in the moment. These kinds of scenarios make us feel fully alive. And there is a peace in knowing and feeling that. Even if it might be dangerous and our hearts are pounding, there is a strange peace that comes over us at the same time, along from moments like these the older I get. June 8th. James Brown is the reason I play guitar. Kevin Eubanks. To be inspired by someone or something. What an awesome thing. And even better, to be the one who inspires others. What a gift. Let us not forget that how we live our lives can directly impact people's lives. You can be an inspiration to others and the reason why someone decides to study the same field or go down a similar path. Also, trying to emulate someone will help you to develop your own style. You can pick certain parts of someone else's characteristics, tweak them to your liking, and call it your own. So, Kevin, you keep on playing that guitar and thinking about James Brown while you do it. Great energy, dancing, and musicianship are all positive attributes to take with you on your musical journey. June 9th. It's that kind of inborn music thing. I can pick up the guitar and play something. It's not something I consciously do. Ziggy Marley. We all have music inside of us. It's called a heartbeat, the rhythmic beating of this vital organ and muscle, keeping time for us and keeping us alive. Ziggy could very well be hinting at this idea through his experience with guitar playing. It's just something innate for him. Just a heartbeat is innate to every human being on planet Earth. Both are gifts. One which gives us the gift of life, and the other a gift of creativity and improvisation through music. If you don't have to think about it or command it to do something for you, then it must be inherent to your nature. The fact that he could pick up a guitar and play something just like that is truly a gift. I've experienced and still do experience moments of this gift with the guitar and music in general. I feel it when I write a song in first draft form, which turns out into the final version in 10 minutes. I feel it when my fingers and brain know exactly where to go upon playing a solo or chord progression I've heard only one time in real time. In other words, it's like being in the zone. When you were in the zone, you were in the flow state, not thinking about what you were doing or going to do, but rather fully enveloped in doing that thing. It's not something you can really teach. It has to come from within. June 10th. If you got a guitar and a lot of soul, just bang something out and mean it. You're the superstar, Chris Novoselic. Say it like you mean it, Chris. That age-old saying rings true in the guitar as it does in conversation and in life. It behooves us to live with intention and try our best in everything we do. This can be with all the roles we play: father, mother, son, daughter, nephew, niece, grandfather, grandmother, uncle, aunt, friend, colleague, mentor, business partner, teacher, etc. throughout life. The hobbies or passions we choose to pursue. Why not? We only have one life to live, so we might as well live it loud and proud, paving our own unique paths. We're all the stars in our own show. In doing so, we won't have to worry if we gave it our all. We'll know for sure we did just that, and there's a sense of great satisfaction, purpose, and fulfillment there. We can then leave this earth knowing we left it all on the field, nothing unfinished. June 11th. The guitar chose me. Charlie Bird. What an interesting way to look at a musical instrument, the guitar choosing you instead of the other way around. For me, this was definitely the case. After breaking my tibia while playing soccer at 16 years old, I didn't know what to do with my time after school. For a decade leading up to that injury, I went to school, then played one of 3 organized sports: soccer, basketball, and baseball, or played pickup basketball, baseball, and street hockey, along with riding bikes, playing manhunt, and the array of things preteen and early teenage boys do with their friends. However, upon this unexpected and not initially welcome sideline, I had nothing to do physically to get my energy out. I was living out the time heals all wounds quote with this one. Then there was the guitar. It was right there sitting in the corner staring at me, begging me to come play. So I listened to that call and started my exploration and journey on the guitar. At the risk of sounding cheesy, it was a match made in heaven. The perfect use of the energy I had inside of me that I couldn't get out in physical exercise went into learning scales, playing around with riffs, rocking our chord progressions, and turning it up to 11. It found and chose me at exactly the right place at the right time. Of course, I had to be open to receiving this gift from the universe amidst the crappiness of being injured. I'm so happy that this was the case. The angsty hormonal teen now had a creative outlet outside of sports to express itself through music, first on the acoustic and then quickly following that the electric guitar. June 12th, I had a good guitar and I was a young kid, Warren Zevon. Sounds like the perfect recipe for success, if you ask me. Not knowing any better can have its advantages. You're not tied down by theory, the technicality, nuances of situations, or the way the world is. Being unafraid, naive, and having youthful energy to take on the world, so to speak, can work for us in the short term for sure. The youngster doesn't always think of what could go wrong or how this will be perceived, so they are more willing to try something new, embrace change, or pursue an area where others have either written off or put down. There is something to this. It's creative freedom. In my opinion, we ought to always keep the inner child alive for these reasons. Now, if we were to live our entire lives in a state of impulsivity, unabashed, throw caution to the wind kind of way, the chances of us going out in a blaze of glory will drastically increase. So there has to be a balance of the wisdom one acquires as one go through our 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond with the useful exuberance of the teenage kid to early to mid 20-year-old. Now, if we take this idea and strap a guitar on said person, it wouldn't surprise me if they created amazing music without thinking twice. Although the youth may still have a lot to learn, they still have something to say. They could very well be here to challenge the status quo and bring out the inner child in all of us when the time is right for the right cause. Let's give them a chance and an opportunity to do their thing as we were given when we were their age. June 13th. It all comes down to the density of the wood. Every guitar is different. Robin Trower. And what a wonderful thing that every guitar is different. If every guitar was the same, they would not only all look the same, but would sound exactly the same. Although that may be cool for a brief time, it would get boring real fast. There would be no dynamic features, no nuances, no originality. Such is the same with every human being. Thank God that we are all our own unique person and that there is no one exactly the same as someone else. Even identical twins are not exactly the same DNA-wise. So like an original guitar, let us embrace our individuality, sharing ourselves with the world in as many wonderful, resounding ways as we can. We owe it to ourselves and to the world to do so. When we do, we better believe other people will resonate and harmonize with us just like other guitars do when played together simultaneously. We'll be making beautiful music with one another, improving the world bit by bit every day for the rest of time. June 14th. Nobody seems to play Yamaha electrics, but it's the best guitar I own. Daisy Berkowitz. Don't knock it till you try it. This is something my grandfather used to say all the time when I was younger. Basically, he was saying that you shouldn't write something off, count something out, or just ignore it completely without trying it first. Maybe that thing you thought wouldn't be the most fun, most efficient, most effective, most purposeful, most functional is exactly that. Or maybe what you are thinking about discarding is the hobby, passion, career idea you've been searching for all along, just in a different form than you originally thought. The same goes for guitars. I have an acoustic Yamaha guitar, and it has served me well for a good 10 years and counting now. It looks and sounds really good, and I've never had a problem with it structurally. The action is great, and I've never had to bring it into a shop to get it fixed. They're built to last. Side note, I also have a Yamaha keyboard, and it has and continues to assist in the recording process when playing live and giving private lessons. I've never had an issue with it, and the sounds on there are actually pretty good. Just because it's not what's considered the cream of the crop as far as guitar brand names go, its sound, playability, and long-lasting nature speaks for itself. June 15th, I was left with an urge to make the guitars sound like things it shouldn't be able to sound like. Adrian Belew. Very cool, Adrian, very cool. Being creative is what this quote speaks to. It's a form of improvisation as it pertains to exploring new and different ways to play an instrument to create rare, unique sounds and melodies. This could mean playing around with effects pedals. This could mean putting the guitar up to the amplifier and creating feedback in various tunings. This could mean playing the guitar with a bow, and on and on and on. The possibilities are nearly endless, especially with the way technology is today. If you could think of it, you can figure out a way to make it happen. Go, and do just that. Right now is a good time as ever to start. June 16th, and they kind of left to find a guitar player at the very end, so I don't really take it as any slight that I wasn't able to play on the record. It's flattering just to play with them, period. James E. Ha. This could have been a major hit to his ego and ruined his life, but it wasn't, and it didn't. Instead, he had the best outlook one could have in this type of situation, gratitude. He was just grateful and appreciative to have the opportunity to be a part of something special with music. It's crazy to think something special is the iconic band, the Smashing Pumpkins. I mean, to be a major player in a band that shaped an entire decade with their music and continues to do so with their live shows, that's something not many people get to experience and say they are doing or have done. You have better chances of winning the lottery. Let us all have this kind of attitude in our everyday lives. Not everything is going to go our way. Do we let it destroy our confidence or raison d'etre? Or do we accept things as they come with patience, grace, and gratitude? For a more peaceful and loving time, it's in our best interest to choose patience, grace, and gratitude. June 17th. I feel like I'm just learning how to play the guitar. I mean, really learning to play the guitar. Stephen Sills. Coming from a professional guitarist and musician, this speaks volumes. It tells us a few things. 1, you're never too old to learn something new. 2, even if you are professional in one area, there's always room to grow and become a better version of yourself. After all, you will never know everything there is to know about one area because the landscape, and in this case the soundscape, is always changing. 3, it's a good thing to practice humility and admit that you don't know everything. People will inevitably respect you more and be willing to engage in conversation with you. June 18th. People do ask, are you going to embellish this stuff? I wouldn't change any of my guitar parts. Joey Santiago. Good for you, Joey. I wouldn't change any musical parts I've created to appease anyone else either. The way a particular musical section is created, written, and performed in the moment is what people ought to hear anyway. There is a magic in creating something unique through music that shouldn't be messed with. If you do, you're manipulating the muse. And trust me, the muse doesn't like to be toyed with. Be appreciative when you have creative ideas come to you and you're able to channel them into something beautiful. Never take that for granted. Never say, I'll come back to it later. Never write it off. June 19th. The classical guitar has a dynamic to it, unlike a regular acoustic guitar or an electric guitar. There's times when you should play, and there's times when you gotta hold back. It's an extremely dynamic instrument. Steve Vai.
Isn't this the case with every scenario in life as well? Sometimes we have to really go for it, ask for that raise from our boss, put our foot down when it's something we don't agree with in a conversation, or just say no to our kids when they ask to do something that isn't safe. And then other times we have to hold back, biting our tongue so as to not offend someone, take a deep breath, and step away from an intense traumatic event or conserve our energy in a race. Now, to speak to the classical guitar as being extremely dynamic, Steve is right. It is quite a versatile style of playing the guitar. But the same can be said for acoustic guitar and or electric guitar. Sometimes a song calls for light strumming or finger picking, while another one calls for heavy distortion and playing it as loud as the amp can go. And of course, every other type of playing in between. Bottom line is that life, just like the guitar, is a balance between playing your heart out, if you will, and taking the time and space to take a breather when need be. It's about finding that balance that creates a sweet spot in life and guitar playing.
June 20th. I like to know how to play the guitar. Mario Vasquez. So do a lot of people, Mario, and this is a great thing to aspire to do. Being a guitarist myself, I'm a bit biased. I would encourage anyone who wants to learn something new to go for it. It's good for us mentally, emotionally, and physically to do so. When we learn something new, our brain makes correlations and connections that weren't there before learning that new thing. And if we get at least half decent at this new thing, our confidence grows. We prove to ourselves that we can do it, even if we have no physical proof of that prior to the learning of it. It's a win-win all around. What makes this quote even deeper is that Mario is already a singer, so he's looking to further his musicianship by learning the guitar. This could most certainly help him write more songs, be able to play and sing at the same time, and open up a whole bunch of doors to explore music for himself in new creative ways. June 21st. I started writing songs when I was 10. It was a natural way to express myself as a kid. It wasn't until I started listening to jazz, joined the choir, and picked up a guitar that my little hobby became something far more serious. Kimbra. I love to hear that music was a natural way for her to express herself as a kid. It's a great way to creatively express herself at any age as well. The fact she started so young and has kept with it through her early adult life is awesome. She's following the muse, seeing where the spirit takes her, and doing her best to be the channel for the muse to speak through in its various shapes and sizes. What's even better is that once she picked up a guitar, this little side thing of writing songs became much more of a full-time do-it-every-day kind of thing. The guitar is a wonderful instrument to write songs on and continue to hone your craft of singing and songwriting. You can take it and play it anywhere and at any time you want. It's got great rhythmic sensibilities to create more of a full band feel, even when writing something acoustic at first, giving you a sense of what other instruments could be doing along with the guitar. I always keep a guitar in my car because you never know when the mood will strike, and then I have an instrument at the ready to flesh out whatever lyrics or melodies are in my head begging to come out. June 22nd. I think guitar is the best thing in the world. Sean White. As far as musical instruments go, I agree, Sean. This is a bold statement to make overall as being the best thing in the world, though. For me, it's hard to really pinpoint what that actually could be, but the fact he said snowboarding, he didn't say snowboarding, is telling. After all, this is the area he decided to focus a lot of his time and energy to throughout his life. One would think he'd say snowboarding is the best thing in the world, yet he says guitar. I like to think that love is the best thing in the world, winning the gold medal for me. A real, pure, true, unconditional kind of love. And then music is a close second. Since guitar falls within that music vein, it wins the silver medal for me. The bronze medal will go to the whole area of exercise. June 23rd. I don't know any guitar player, any of the real greats, who don't rate Joni Mitchell up there with the best of them. Chrissy Hind. To be included as one of the greats is truly an honor and not something to be taken lightly. At first glance, I wouldn't think Joni Mitchell would fit into this category of great guitar players. However, after listening to a bunch of her songs, one can see why. She has a unique way of finger picking and strumming, and the chords she chooses aren't your average everyday kind of chords. Her solo or lead parts are pretty solid as well. To me, they're not on the same level as Jimi Hendrix, Jimmy Page, Eddie Van Halen, Steve Vai, Stevie Ray Vaughan, or any of the other greats, but solid nonetheless. This is a reminder that we shouldn't count someone or something out just because he or she or it doesn't fit the mold in the traditional sense. When we do so, we are putting that person or thing in a box and judging it against the criteria or standards that were arbitrarily set up. These criteria standards could be outdated by now. In other words, there are many ways to be good or great at something, and it doesn't have to be the way or ways once deemed as standard or appropriate. June 24th. I played for anybody and everybody from the time I started playing guitar when I was 10 or 11. Janice Ian. This is a great way to be, playing for anybody and everybody who was and is willing to listen, and to do it from such a young age as well. Impressive. In order to get really good at performing, you have to do it in front of people again and again and again. Why? Because you have to work out the kinks, so to speak, seeing what songs and stories you tell in between songs will go over well or not with the audience. You also become more comfortable with the idea of standing and singing in front of people, decreasing the anxiety that comes from performing. And the best thing that can come from performing over and over is the connections and relationships you will inevitably form with people. Whether it is fans, sound engineers, booking agents, bartenders, the more you are in front of people, the easier it will be to form new and potentially long-lasting relationships that will benefit you and the other person for many years to come. June 25th. I was probably 7 years old when I started playing the guitar and writing some serious songs. Dolly Parton. Starting early, Dolly, it's no wonder she's made such a big name for herself and has been so prolific throughout her career in life. She discovered what she loved and still loves to do at 7 years old, practicing and honing her singing and songwriting abilities for more than half a century. There's something to the notion of starting young and never looking back. You are ahead of the game, so to speak, and get the chance to work on something way before others are even thinking about it. My guess is that she had a decade's worth of practice before the average singer-songwriter of her time was really getting into it. This is a huge advantage. So kudos to you, Miss Parton. You really paved your own path, not only for you to travel down, but for so many others to follow in your footsteps. You were a real trailblazer. June 26th. Sometimes I play guitar like a frustrated drummer, Hal Sparks. I feel you, Hal. Essentially, you're talking about utilizing music as a cathartic release, physically exerting yourself as if you're exercising the demons out. And I totally get it, as I've done the same thing on occasion. Sometimes the best thing we could do when we're frustrated is to bang out loud and proud on an instrument. That can be the drums for some people, and it can be the guitar for others. Turn it up to max volume and let it rip. It might hurt you or others in close proximity's ears in the short term, but it will be good for your mental health in the long term. It's better to let it out than to bottle it in, ruminating on whatever has been bothering you. So the next time you are angry, pick up an instrument and go for it like you've never had before. You'll feel better, and I know you won't regret it. June 27th. I get twitchy if I don't pick up a guitar or sit at the piano every now and then. I have to do it. I don't have a choice. Julian Cope. I feel the same way, Julian. It's as if the music is inside of you, begging and pleading to come out. For me, writing and performing music in all the various ways I do feels as though I need to do it. Yes, I want to do it, but there is more of a need to do it as well. And although everyone ultimately has a choice to say yes or no to playing an instrument, if it continues to come back to you, calling you to play, it becomes such a part of you that ignoring that would be a disservice to the muse or inspiration. That would be a crying shame. For me, it's a release of energy that is very much needed to combat anxiety. It's also a way for me to get whatever it is that's been swirling around in my head out of it and onto paper or recording. Then I don't have to think about it being in my head anymore. With this, it has been such a therapeutic tool for dealing with all the things life throws at me. It also makes me feel good to create something new on the guitar or any instrument for that matter, continually pushing the boundaries and finding new ways or sounds to play an instrument. It's also just downright fun to jam and do something collaborative with other people. Music has done all these things for me, and I'm sure more to come over time. June 28th. I'm surrounded by great guitar players, Rick Springfield. How do you get better at anything in life? By surrounding yourself with people who are great and better at what they do than you are. It's not to say you'll never get to where they are. It's also not to say that you're not putting them on an unworthy pedestal. What you are saying is that although you may be pretty good where you are right now, there's still room to grow. You have much more room to improve upon what you are currently doing to become more effective and efficient in said area, and as a result of this, to become the best version of yourself in the process. There is no better way to approach your everyday life at smaller incremental steps along the path of goodness, taking bits and pieces of those people and things that inspire you, keeping what best serves you and others, and discarding the rest. In other words, you're setting your sights upon a goal and challenging yourself to not just get there, but go beyond it. Keep it up. June 29th. Heck, I'm no Harry Mancini or Michael Legrand. I just play the guitar and write songs. John Denver. Don't sell yourself short, John. You did a lot more than just play the guitar and write songs. There's no reason to be self-deprecating or, dare I say, adopt a false sense of humility. The songs you wrote defined an entire genre, inspired millions of people, and still continue to inspire and live past your earthly existence. You were so prolific in only 53 years, too. One can only hope to have the kind of long-lasting positive contribution to society like you have. Of course, you didn't get the chance to see how much your music continues to impact people since you left us some 25 years ago. Imagine the kind of music you would have written from then until now. June 30th. I'll never be the best guitar player, Chad Kroger. It's okay to not be the best at anything. There is always going to be someone who is faster, prettier, smarter, and better at so-and-so activity or area or industry. This shouldn't stop us from trying our best, though. There is a big difference in being the best and trying your best. Maybe Chad didn't set out to be the best guitar player, so this statement could be more for external purposes in the interview and not a reflection on how he truly feels about himself in a negative way. Maybe his intention was to be the best guitar player when he first started playing, and he feels he's fallen short. If he is admitting that he'll never be the best and does it in a matter-of-fact kind of way, which isn't putting himself down, then that's one thing. It's an entirely different thing if he says it in a pessimistic, woe is me, look at how much I suck kind of way. The former is more of a constructive criticism towards oneself, whereas the latter is more negative and destructive. Bottom line is that we ought to be kind to and honest with ourselves, as well as try our best at all times. If we do this, we'll know we did everything in our power to achieve the goal, succeed, and live the life we wanted to live. If we don't, then chasing our tails, unnecessarily beating ourselves up mentally, and living in a negative downward spiral that's very hard to escape.